Hey everyone. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope you all are doing happy and doing blessed and doing overall safe. Welcome to your Geek Report for the week of April the 22nd through April the 29th of 2024. Now, I'm going to be doing things a little bit different this week. So, first off, as you probably can see on the screen, you don't see my face on the screen. That's because the past couple of times I've used a green screen, I have not been happy with it because of the simple fact that my LED lights went out and I'm using a regular lamp to kind of show my face and everything. And I'm not very happy with it. Not at all. So, for the time being, this is what you're probably going to see, unless it's something special or unless I think I've got it figured out. Okay. Secondly, there hasn't been a whole lot of news this week. There was one item that dropped, and that's what we're going to be doing a special report on. This is my special report on this new one item. And this week, what we're going to be talking about is George Lucas perhaps coming back to Star Wars. Now, I'm going to kind of set the stage for you. I'm going to tell you kind of why this is happening, how this is happening, and finally, just give you my overall opinions on it. Okay. But this past week, some information came out that perhaps George Lucas could be returning to Star Wars. We're going to talk about this, what this means for Star Wars, and whether or not it even matters. So sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's look at the special report for the Geek Report for April the 29th of 2024, titled George Lucas, The Return of the Master. Now then, let me kind of set the stage for you. And before I really set the stage for you, I gotta let you know this is still rumor. Nothing has been confirmed. There has been no official announcement from Disney or anything like that. This is still just rumor and speculation at this moment. But this past week, Roger Christian. Now, if you never heard this name, it's okay. Roger Christian created the first lightsaber. Okay, he worked as the director on The Empire Strikes Back as well as Return of the Jedi, and he worked with George Lucas on A New Hope, the first three Star Wars films, okay, that came out in the 70s and 80s. So he knows George, okay, this ain't just coming out of nowhere, okay. He went on a popular YouTube channel that I watch called Star Wars Theory, and I will put the picture of his channel on on my video here, and I will probably put a link to his channel in the description. Okay, so he's on Star Wars Theory, and they're talking about just general Star Wars stuff. Okay, then Roger Christian drops a bomb. He says that he's heard that George Lucas is coming back for a live action Star Wars show, that they're bringing him back into the fold of Disney and all that. Now, let me explain why this is important if it's true. Okay. Let's remember now, this could not be true. This could be just something he heard and he's repeating it, or it could be true, or it could be something that Disney has put out. Okay. They told a bunch of people that this is happening. Roger Christian heard it and repeated it. Okay. So all those are possible. Okay. But the reason why, if this is true, would be big is because when George Lucas sold Lucasfilm and Essence Star Wars to Disney 10 years ago, he walked away from it. Okay. He said, I'm done, goodbye. And the reason he walked away from it was because he had a treatment for episodes 7, 8, and 9. He sold it to Disney, who bought Lucasfilm, Star Wars, all of it. They looked at this treatment and said, "No, we don't want anything to do with that," and they did their own thing, and he just walked away. Okay, he walked away. Well, if he is coming back, that could be very huge. Okay, and I say could be. Okay, if it is true, it could be huge because he gave us the original Star Wars movies. Okay, he gave us the prequels. Okay, his Star Wars is the best Star Wars out there right now, even greater than The Mandalorian season 1 and 2, okay? Let's just get that straight right now. Okay. What Roger Christian said on this podcast YouTube channel was that he had heard that George Lucas was getting his own live action Star Wars show and that he was being brought into the fold of Disney. Okay. That he was being brought in, essentially. Now, right now, the only two live action projects we know is The Acolyte, which comes out, I think, in a couple of months, and Skeleton Crew, which still does not have a release date. Okay. So either he's taking over for Skeleton Crew, which I don't think is going to happen. Okay. Or there's another project that is waiting to be announced. Okay. And let's all remember this could be one of many things. This could be real. Okay. This could be Disney like leaking this information out to people and then Roger Christian just repeating it to Star Wars theory. Or this could change and there could be the internal politics of it all and he doesn't come back even though he was supposed to. I mean, there's a number of things going on here. That's why I'm still saying this is rumor. But I think this is a big rumor that we do need to talk about and we do need to analyze. Okay. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to look at this rumor because everyone's talking about it, in the Star Wars community. We're going to look at this rumor and I'm going to just give you my thoughts and opinions on it. But we're going to really look at this rumor and break it down to its nuts and bolts of everything. Okay. So when you look at anything, okay, it don't matter if it's a rumor, whatnot. There's a basic rule of thumb: who, what, where, why, and how. Okay, we already know the who. Okay, and that is that George Lucas could be coming back to Star Wars. We already know the what. Okay, that he's coming back to Star Wars. We know the who and we know the what. Let's look at the why. Okay, why are they bringing George Lucas back? And I think that this is a multifaceted question. Okay, so first off, you've got Star Wars engagement at the lowest level it's ever been. Okay, even when the books of the extended universe were coming out, people were engaged in Star Wars. They were still talking about Star Wars. Okay, now they're hardly caring at all. Okay. And we're talking about diehard fans whose grandparents took them to the theaters to see the prequels, whose fathers took them to watch the originals when they were re-released in theaters. Okay. This is one of the reasons why I think this is now happening. Okay. Is that fan engagement and people caring about Star Wars is quite possibly at a point where if something massive isn't done to Star Wars, it's going to die. Okay. And it's going to be looked at as a study in colleges of how to destroy a property. Okay. Bob Iger don't want that. Kathleen Kennedy don't want that. So they got to do something. And one of the things they could do is bring George Lucas back into the fold. All right. Another reason why I think this is happening is back in March, there was a proxy fight between Nelson Peltz and Bob Iger for some more board seats on the Disney board. Okay. And Bob Iger basically was told by Nelson Peltz, I want these people on my board. Bob Iger said no. And so Nelson Peltz tried to get enough votes to get certain people on the board where he would have more control over what projects were approved and what projects weren't approved, and basically the direction of Disney. That includes Star Wars and Marvel and stuff. Now, Nelson Peltz lost that fight. Okay. He full on lost that fight. Okay. Now, he was not kicked off the board, but he lost. But that don't mean he's done. Bob Iger's got to know he's waiting in the rings for round two. Okay? He's got to know this. Okay? And he knows that if he doesn't make some massive, massive turnarounds now, if he doesn't do something massively to turn around Star Wars and Marvel and Pixar, then that's just going to give more ammunition for Nelson Peltz to come back for round two, and next time he might actually win, and it might be worse than it was this time. This time Nelson Peltz just won a few board seats. Next time Nelson Peltz could be gunning for Bob Iger's job. Okay, so that's another reason why I think this is happening now, because Bob Iger's got to show the board that he is trying to make improvements to these properties they've spun billions of dollars on. Okay, they spun $4 billion for Star Wars. Okay, and they have not made that money back yet. Not with the movies, not with the programming, the Disney Plus stuff. They have not made that money back yet. Okay? They've not done it with the toys or anything. I think the last number I heard was they have made $1.4 billion back of the money they spun to get Lucasfilm. Okay, and I think they paid $4 billion to George Lucas for Lucasfilm. So Bob Iger's got to do something because Nelson Peltz is just waiting in the wings for round two. And next time, instead of just having a few board seats that Nelson Peltz wants, next time Nelson Peltz could be coming for Bob Iger's job. Bob Iger knows this, and he's got to do something. Another reason why I think this is happening now is because I think that the Acolyte is going to be bad. And I don't mean bad like Ahsoka bad or bad like Mandalorian season 3. Those were not good. I think the Acolyte is going to be so bad that they have to do something. Okay? That they have to do something. Because I just get this feeling just based off what we've seen with the ratio of the Acolyte, what we've seen of the engagement about the Acolyte. Everyone is saying the same thing, that this show is going to be horrible. Okay. So they do the whole George Lucas thing now. So that way it lessens the blow when the Acolyte comes out. Okay. I think that right now, with the way the Acolyte is looking, Bob Iger had to do something to give people hope. Because if they don't see hope down the road that something's going to be done to Star Wars, because Star Wars means a lot to a lot of people. Okay, it means a lot to a lot of people. All right, and if Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy don't do something to look at Star Wars and say, okay, we got to do something. Let's bring George back in some way, shape, or form. Okay, and one of the questions I will have later is, in what form will he return? Then people are just not going to watch Star Wars anymore. They'll watch the original trilogy. They'll watch the prequel trilogy. They'll even watch Rogue One. But the newer stuff, even the Mandalorian, they're going to walk away. And I think another reason why this is happening now is I think Jon Favreau is getting ready to leave. Okay, we had the Mandalorian Grogu movie announced, and he was supposed to be doing that. Now there's rumors going around that even that's being canceled. Okay, so I think that in their minds, they're losing Jon Favreau, but they're gaining George Lucas. Okay, they got to do something to establish hope in the fans' hearts, because there's a lot of fans who have walked away. Okay, just because they're tired of all the nonsense that's been put in Star Wars. They got to do something to ignite fans' hope, or else Star Wars is dead. Star Wars is dead if they don't do something. And I think this is their best option, is to bring George Lucas back in the proper capacity. So the next two questions are fairly easy. Where and how? Now, where is obvious. He's coming back to Lucasfilm. How is a little bit more difficult to explain. I think that this is not Kathleen Kennedy. I think that this is Bob Iger. If this is true, and this, keep in mind now, this could be a rumor, this could be a fake out, things could change, okay? But let's say this is true, okay? I think this is Bob Iger. I think Bob Iger knows he's in trouble. I think he knows he's been in trouble for a while now. I think that Nelson Peltz probably achieved what he did with the proxy fight was was to put a shot across Bob Iger's bow and basically tell Bob Iger, either you straighten up or someone else will do it for you. Okay. And that's why this is coming out now. Because I think Bob Iger has seen the acolyte. I think that adds to it that the acolyte is going to be bad. Skeleton Crew still doesn't have a release date yet. We've heard that the Jude Law series has been out there for a while. Tales of the Empire looks decent. Okay, I will admit that, but not decent enough to overcome what the Acolyte is going to be. So Bob Iger needs to start something. Okay, and I think his best option is George Lucas. Okay, now I personally think if he really wanted to get fan engagement and bringing back fans, he should have fired Kathleen Kennedy and put Jon Favreau in charge. Because we've the best Star Wars we've gotten since they took control of Star Wars has been through Jon Favreau. Okay, so I think that the how is basically, you know, Bob Iger probably asked him. Okay, that Bob Iger basically asked him to come back. We now have looked at it from a purely scientific standpoint, okay, and we got our answers. But now comes the hard questions. What if he does come back? Okay, what does this mean for Star Wars if this is true? If this does come to pass, what does this mean for Star Wars? So we have gone and we have analyzed this rumor upside down, sideways. Okay, and maybe there's things I didn't look at that maybe you see, and that's okay. All right, I full on admit that. But let me kind of give you my 2 cents on everything. So right now, this rumor, and let's just be clear again, this is just still a rumor. Okay, that this rumor, if it is true, could be very big in several ways, in my opinion. It all determines on a few things. Now, what are those things? What would determine whether or not this would be big news or not? Let me rephrase that again. If George Lucas comes back, this could be the renaissance of Star Wars. Okay, this could be the return of Star Wars, or it could be its final nail in the coffin. And let me say why I think that is. First off, it's all going to determine really on whether George Lucas is given the power to do what he wants. If he has to go and he has to pre-approve storylines to Kathleen Kennedy or Bob Iger or whoever, then no, it ain't gonna work out. Okay, it just ain't gonna work out. Okay, but if Bob Iger basically tells him, "Hey, you know, you have free reign to do whatever you want, just keep it in canon," then George Lucas could do incredible things. He could give us what he was wanting to do with episode 7, 8, and 9. He could give us the story of the Star Wars underworld. Okay. At one point, there was a game called Star Wars 1313 that delved into the underworld of Star Wars. He could give us that in live action. Okay. He literally can give us that in live action. All right. And while I love the battle between the Republic and the New Order, Empire, whatever you want to call them, that was shown in the Mandalorian and Ahsoka, just having that against the backdrop of what's going on in the underworld could be really interesting if he did that. Now I don't know what he's going to do, but still, what I'm saying is they got to give the man the space to work. Okay, when John Favreau brought back Luke Skywalker, okay, he had to do it in secret. Okay, he had to do it in complete secrecy. Okay, And the reason for that is he had to go through Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger for everything. And finally, it got to the point where he had just had enough of that and other things. And now, by all accounts, he's leaving. He's leaving Star Wars behind. And he's going to go, and he probably end up go over to DC because James Gunn's a good friend of his. And James Gunn has basically told people, hey, hey, John Favreau, if you want to come over here, I will give you any superhero you want to make a film out of. Because they know John Favreau's creativity and they know what he can do when given free reign. Okay? Simple as that. Whereas Star Wars and Lucasfilm, they wanted to put chains on what he could and could not do. And we saw the result in The Mandalorian season 3. When they in The Mandalorian season 3 was really an example of Star Wars putting chains on John Favreau. Okay? That's basically what it was. Okay? When you let that man off the hook unchained, he will give you incredible stuff. He created the MCU. Okay? He literally created the MCU with the first Iron Man film. All right. So this man knows how to do this stuff. Okay. But I think in terms of George Lucas, I think it all determines on how much power he's given, what he's able to do. If he ain't able to do a lot, he ain't gonna be able to do a lot. But if he's given free reign, then it can be a whole new renaissance of Star Wars. Okay. They could see how it's done and basically tell the directors, do this. Okay. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, okay, George Lucas will come in and stay in as maybe a person who oversees Star Wars, okay? Like the head of Star Wars development or something, okay? Where Star Wars is his baby, he's going to oversee it, okay? That hasn't even been mentioned, but still, it's a possibility, okay? But like I said, like it all is going to be determined by how much power he has. Now, so far, all we know from what Roger Christian said was that he is going to be doing a live action show. Okay. But if that live action show is incredible, if they give him free reign to do whatever he wants, okay, if they do that and it's great, then then you can pretty much guarantee that somehow, some way, Disney is going to try to replicate that. If they don't, they are completely stupid and they don't deserve Star Wars. Okay, simple as that. So I really think, as of right now, this rumor is all based on how much power he has, what he can or cannot do on his own, without having to go to Disney or Kathleen or anyone else, where he could just go ahead and do it. Okay, if he's able to do that, I think this could be a whole new era of Star Wars, a renaissance of Star Wars. If he can't, then I think this could be the final nail in Star Wars' coffin. If he can't do that, then no one's going to watch Star Wars. No one. They're going they're going to feel tired of all the garbage that's being put out, and they're going to basically, close it off. Okay. But look, that was my special report, my Geek Report special report about the return of George Lucas. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Check out some of my other social media sites and my video sites at the end of this video. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy. I will see y'all in the next video and in the next stream and in whenever. Laters.